That's the latest in terms of what we have at this point, Melissa. But what's interesting here is we have heard nothing at all from the chairman of Nikola, Trevor Milton.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. The Nikola saga continues once again. In this video, we're watching a little bit of the mainstream finance media coverage of the news that Nikola is being investigated by the SEC and the Department of Justice. You know, nothing major, nothing to see here. They've got nothing to worry about whatsoever, unless they've done something wrong, that is. Now, this all started from a short seller report last week from Hindenburg Research alleging that Nikola made false and misleading statements, which of course is a really big no-no if you're a publicly traded company. In fact, it's a pretty big no-no to anyone. I mean, don't be a dick, and being a dick probably includes lying and misleading, right? So yeah, as long as Nikola haven't been dicks, then everything's fine. So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you're in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get a free stock, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account and fund it with $100, you'll get a free stock valued up to $1,600. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
Welcome back to Fast Money. We are following a developing story on Nikola. Shares tumbling in the after-hour session. Let's get to Phil LeBeau's got the details. Phil.
And Melissa, they are under pressure because it appears there are now two agencies that are investigating Nikola. This afternoon, two reports, one from Dow Jones, one from the FT, saying that the Department of Justice, specifically the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, has made inquiries to Nikola regarding the fraud claims. By the way, we have reached out to Nikola. No comment at all. We've been unable to hear anything back from the company regarding this report of the DOJ investigating the company. Remember, yesterday, the report came out that the SEC is also looking into these fraud claims surrounding Nikola. Nikola, for its part, says, look, we reached out proactively last Friday to the SEC, and we said, look, we want you to look into these claims that were made by Hindenburg Research. Those claims, about 43 of them, essentially saying that this is an intricate fraud that Nikola is perpetrating here, and that basically investors are on the hook. Again, what you heard from Nikola, not only on Friday, but also on Monday, was a refuting of those claims from Hindenburg.
I hate to nitpick, but it is really important. In my personal opinion, Nikola's response failed to refute any of the 53 claims made by Hindenburg Research. Refute means effectively to disprove, okay? Nikola instead admitted that they did some of the things named in the report and simply failed to respond to about 40 of the claims leveled at them, okay? This isn't refuting claims. This is going, okay, we admit we rolled a truck downhill and tried to pass it off as if it was, yeah, we did do that. And we just won't answer pretty much every other one of your allegations at this time because it'll probably incriminate us further. No comment. Of course, this is all my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments. Do you disagree? Do you feel that Nikola actually successfully refuted a single claim made by Hindenburg Research with their response? Let me know.
But today, Hindenburg doubled down, issuing another report, basically saying we view Nikola's response as a tacit admission of securities fraud. That tacit admission is because one of the claims from Hindenburg Research was that a semi-truck that was filmed by Nikola back in 2017 was not actually propelling itself. It was being rolled down a hill. It was in motion. It was not an actual driving vehicle. I'm showing you General Motors because General Motors has said, look, we did appropriate diligence when it comes to looking into Nikola before striking the deal where General Motors takes an 11% stake. Nikola will have its Badger electric pickup truck built by General Motors. That's the latest in terms of what we have at this point, Melissa. But what's interesting here is we have heard nothing at all from the chairman of Nikola, Trevor Milton.
Certainly a very dramatic turn of events. Only a couple of weeks ago, you could not get Trevor Milton's face off the mainstream finance media. I think his role at the company is executive stock pumper. Executive stock fluffer. Yeah, I can't remember what it is. Anyway, he said something about Robinhood investors and retail investors and gravy train and something. So he's been very vocal out in the media, getting people excited about the vision of Nikola to change the world. I mean, no, they've already changed the world. Getting people excited about the fact that they've already changed the world with their groundbreaking technology that's not in production yet and not being used in the GM partnership. Now, radio silence. I mean, I totally get it. You've lawyered up, being investigated. Maybe better to be quiet, but a little bit disconcerting for investors, don't you think? I mean, nothing at all.
And these two investigations, you have to wonder if this takes away the real oxygen that has pushed this stock higher over the last month. And that's Trevor Milton on social media. He was out there on Friday. He has not been out there since then.
Yeah, he had that sort of monologue that had some, profanity in it that we bleeped out. We aired part of that. It's amazing, Phil, because Bloomberg actually had that report about the pickup truck, or the semi-truck, I should say, not actually being functional at an event
Correct.
a long time ago. So they are on to this whole thing. Has GM not really said, have they not said anything?
They have not said anything. And I think General Motors' position, and this is purely conjecture based on conversations with people at the company, I think their position at this point is, look, we didn't pay anything. We have made an agreement with Nikola to build the Badger electric pickup truck. If this turns out that Nikola is really not what everybody thought it was going to be, what's the worst that happens? They no longer build it. It's a little embarrassing for General Motors since they said they did appropriate diligence. So from General Motors' perspective, it's too early to pull the plug, so to speak. Yeah, you can't be happy to see that Nikola may be under investigation, but at the same point, look, there's the possibility that this could ultimately all wash out, and they do build this Badger electric pickup truck. And if you're General Motors, Mary Barra has said time and again, Nikola gives them the potential for size and scale, and that's the real attractive part of this deal for them.
Phil, thank you. Phil LeBeau on this, what's becoming a very complicated story.
Now, look, maybe I'm reading into the tea leaves a little bit much here, or possibly hallucinating, but I kind of get the feeling there that maybe Melissa wasn't quite buying that from Phil there. She seemed very dubious and suspicious. This is a pretty big deal, and Phil's like, oh yeah, not really a big deal at all, no problem. Let me know in the comments. Am I imagining stuff, guys, or are you sensing that same reaction from Melissa?
Steve Grasso, I think that's an interesting point. It didn't cost GM any money, basically. So it's sort of an option on the success of this company.
Man, Melissa is sharp. Just a quick aside here. I've noticed I've been watching tons of the mainstream finance media coverage over Tesla and other companies, not because I care too much directly about what they say in terms of that influencing my own opinions, but just to get an understanding of the narrative that's being blasted out into the homes of mum and dad retail investors across America and other parts of the world, because this has a major influence on parts of the market that I just don't interact with otherwise. Melissa and Andrew really stand out as anchors who really get it, ask good questions, and are extremely rational, analytical, and level-headed consistently. So I just wanted to put that out there. I do have some respect for some of the journalists, and I totally understand too that the appeal of network television to a mainstream audience, it's good to have some entertaining characters, even if they're jerks or assholes or gigantic man children with emotional problems. Those kind of things can be entertaining for people to watch, so I totally get that. But I just wanted to say, I have a lot of respect for these two anchors in particular. They do a great job. I've never seen them be unreasonable, and I think they do a really fantastic job of bringing people some insight into what's going on.
I mean, if GM really did due diligence, Guy, this would really put questions in my head, some doubts about any future deal that GM partakes in at all. It's not like there was no question about this company before. As I mentioned to Phil, there was that Bloomberg article about the semi-truck that was not functional at an unveil function.
It's certainly not going to be a good look for GM if any of the allegations against Nikola turn out to be true. And obviously Nikola have already admitted they rolled a truck down a hill, passing it off as in motion a few years ago. I mean, yeah, it's already not a good look. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, from GM's perspective, this was a no-lose deal in financial terms. They literally could not lose, and they potentially gain an enormous customer and make lots of money from Nikola producing the vehicles and selling them back to them. However, just because there's no direct financial risk doesn't mean that indirect risk can't cause financial damage or harm anyway. This reputational damage that may occur if it turns out these allegations are proven to be correct is going to be extremely damaging for GM. This begs two key questions. The first is, did GM do their due diligence? And if so, how did they not notice this? Or did they notice this and say, let's just ignore that? I mean, the deal they're offering is pretty good. The second question is, did GM do this out of a place of desperation? When Nikola comes to GM and it's like, hey guys, we'd like to be a customer of yours and we'd like to give you 11% of our company And we'd like to also invest about $700 million helping you set up your factories to build our truck that we have some pictures of. What do you think? Oh, and we don't want anything else from you. We'll pay for the truck. We'll buy them. Yeah. Sound good? Perfect. When a company with many red flags comes to you with a deal that seems too good to be true, gives you a huge chunk of their company, hundreds of millions of dollars, they're going to be a customer, you're going to build stuff for them, and they're going to buy the stuff from you and then sell it to their customers. So you're going to make a profit on every vehicle as well. And there's question marks. Do you really not think, hang on a minute, why on earth would they be bringing us such an incredible deal for us and a terrible deal for them? We should possibly look into this. What happened? Like, did GM not have that thought, or they did and they looked into it and they didn't find anything? Troubling. Or they looked into it and found something but then didn't really say anything? Also troubling. Let me know in the comments. What do you think went on? I'm kind of confused and baffled, to be honest. And this really hurts GM's credibility. But I mean, as I've been saying for months, GM's going bankrupt this decade anyway.
I can understand why for some people it would just be viewed as a slight embarrassment to General Motors. I totally get that. I also think the other side of the coin is what you point out, that if GM says they did their due diligence and there is something here, to me that's problematic. But let me say one other thing. The agencies that are doing their due diligence are doing exactly that. It doesn't mean that Nikola is guilty of anything. And to Steve's point, whether it's General Motors telling Mr. Milton or his lawyers not to say anything, that doesn't necessarily mean anything other than they want him to be quiet. So they can, I'll use the word exonerated, it's the wrong word, but for lack of a better one, in a week from now, we could be talking about Nikola being cleared of these charges by these agencies and the stock trading significantly higher. That's the flip side of the coin. Again, at least for me, knowing nothing about any of the accusations or the veracity of them.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I love it and I don't love it. It's like opinion. Oh, by the way, of course, that was my opinion. Given that I don't actually know anything about anything that I just talked about, just keep that in mind. Hey, I've got to give credit though. I think the guy is this name. He's been pretty honest. He's mentioned repeatedly when he's totally been off the mark on Tesla and said, look, I've been wrong on Tesla. I'm going to talk, but I've been wrong. So keep that in mind. So it's good that he's at least acknowledging that he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, hasn't looked into the allegations, because had he, I'm not so sure he would have made those comments. But again, at least the honesty is appreciated. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Are you enjoying watching this saga unfold? It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity, I think, to see something like this unfold. So I'm having a really, really great time learning. I don't like to see a company going through this process, but at the same time, it probably needed to happen, and it's going to be fun to watch this unfold in real time. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake using the links below. Deposit $100 in your WeBull account and you'll get a free stock valued up to $1,600, and Stake, spin the roulette wheel, you'll either get Nike, GoPro or Dropbox. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.